Most people look strong on the outside, but mentally they are controlled by everything around them. A little rejection destroys their confidence. A little disrespect ruins their peace. A little criticism makes them question their worth. They spend their lives chasing attention, approval, and validation from people who do not truly care about them. But through years of discipline, fighting, and self-mastery, I learned something dangerous. The moment you stop emotionally depending on the world, you become untouchable too. In this video, I will share 7 ruthless Bruce Lee lessons that will help you become mentally stronger, emotionally colder, and stayed dangerously powerful in a weak and distracted world. 1. Stop needing everyone's approval. One of the biggest weaknesses a person can have is constantly needing acceptance from everyone around them. Most people are afraid to show their real personality because they worry too much about what others will think. They explain every decision, defend every action, and wait for approval before taking risks. Because of this, they slowly lose confidence in themselves and begin living according to other people's expectations instead of their own purpose too. When I developed my own martial arts philosophy, many people criticized me because it was different from tradition. They wanted me to follow old rules and stay inside the limits they believed in. Some people doubted me, mocked my ideas, and refused to understand my vision. But I realized something important. If you spend your entire life trying to please everybody, you will never truly discover who you are too. You will become a copy of what others expect instead of becoming your strongest self. Powerful people understand that not everyone will agree with them, and they accept that reality without fear. They do not waste time arguing with closed-minded people or begging others to understand their journey. Instead, they focus their energy on improving themselves, building discipline, sharpening their skills, and growing stronger every day too. Real confidence is built through action, not through applause from other people too. The truth is, no matter how talented, kind, or successful you become, some people will still misunderstand you or criticize you. That is simply part of life too. The moment you stop depending on validation from others, your mind becomes freer and stronger. Your confidence no longer rises and falls based on opinions too. You stop living for approval and start living with purpose, discipline, and self-respect. That is the moment people lose the power to emotionally control you. 2. Stay calm when life gets hard. Anybody can appear confident when life is easy But pressure reveals a person's true character. Difficult situations expose fear, emotional weakness, and lack of discipline. Lacticism. During training and fighting, I learned that calmness is one of the greatest forms of power. A calm mind can think clearly, even in chaos, while an emotional mind quickly loses control. Most people react too quickly when problems appear in their life. One's insult ruins their mood, too. One failure destroys their confidence. One stressful situation makes them panic and overthink everything because they cannot control their emotions. Life controls them instead. 2. Emotional reactions often create bigger problems than the situations itself. I understood early in my journey that anger, fear, and panic make a person weak. 2. When your emotions control your actions, your judgment becomes unstable. You stop thinking clearly and begin making decisions based on temporary feelings. But a disciplined person learns how to remain focused even during pressure. They breathe calmly, observe carefully, and respond with control instead of reacting emotionally. 2. In martial arts, staying calm during a fight is extremely important. The fighter who loses emotional control usually loses focus, wastes energy, and makes mistakes. Life works the same way. When challenges appear, the calm person sees opportunities, while the emotional person only sees fear. True strength is not becoming emotionless. 2. True strength is learning how to control your emotions instead of allowing them to control you. The calmer you become during difficult moments, the more powerful your mind becomes. People who remain calm under pressure are harder to manipulate, harder to break, and much harder to defeat. 3. Never chase people who disrespect you. Many people waste years chasing attention, love, and approval from people who never truly valued them. They keep trying harder, hoping one day they will finally be accepted, appreciated, or respected too. But the more they chase people who ignore them, the more they lose their self-respect and emotional strength. I learned something important through life and discipline. Never force your presence where your value is not appreciated. Real power begins when you stop begging for attention from people who clearly do not care about your worth. Most people become emotionally weak because they depend too much on others for happiness. Their mood changes depending on messages, reactions, praise, or validation. If someone ignores them, they feel worthless. If someone rejects them, they lose confidence too. This gives other people too much control over their emotions. A strong person moves differently. They understand that not everybody deserves access to their energy, time, and peace too. If someone constantly disrespects you, lies to you, manipulates you, or makes you feel emotionally exhausted, walking away is not weakness. Sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. In life, silence is often more powerful than chasing or arguing. You do not need to convince people to respect you. You do not need to beg people to stay in your life. So, right people will naturally value your presence without forcing you to fight for basic respect too. I also learned that loneliness is better than constantly surrounding yourself with people who drain your spirit. Temporary loneliness can build strength, wisdom, and self-respect. But toxic relationships slowly destroy your confidence and peace of mind. The moment you stop chasing people who do not value you, your mind becomes calmer and stronger too. You stop wasting emotional energy on the wrong people and start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. That is when you become emotionally untouchable. 4, 2. Discipline is more important than motivation. Most people believe success comes from motivation, but that is one of the biggest lies keeping them weak. Motivation is temporary. Some days you feel inspired, excited, and ready to work hard. Other days you feel tired, distracted, lazy, or mentally exhausted too. If your entire life depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. That is why discipline is far more powerful than motivation. During my years of training, there were many moments when my body was exhausted and my mind wanted rest. There were days when training felt painful, repetitive, and frustrating. But I continued anyway, because I understood something important. Powerful people do not depend on feelings to take action. They train themselves to act regardless of emotion too. Most people only work when they feel like it. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, or the perfect opportunity before changing their life. But successful people understand that waiting destroys potential. Discipline means showing up even when you are tired. It means continuing even when progress feels slow. It means controlling yourself when distractions try to pull you away from your goals. Weak people are controlled by comfort too. They avoid difficult work, difficult conversations, difficult routines, and difficult sacrifices because they want life to feel easy all the time. But comfort slowly destroys ambitions. The more comfortable a person becomes, the weaker their mind often becomes as well. Every time you choose excuses over discipline, you train your mind to avoid growth. Every time you quit because something becomes difficult, you teach yourself weakness. But every time you continue, despite discomfort, you build mental strength and self-respect. Discipline also creates confidence. Many people struggle with low confidence because deep inside they know they are not keeping promises to themselves. They say they will wake up early, but they keep sleeping. They say they will work hard, but they keep procrastinating too. They say they will change their life, but they continue repeating the same habits every day. Over time, this destroys trust within themselves. But disciplined people become powerful because they prove to themselves daily that they can stay committed. Too. Every workout completed, every distraction avoided, every difficult task finished builds stronger self-belief. Confidence is not created by motivational speeches. Confidence is created by disciplined action repeated over time. I also learned that discipline separates dreamers from achievers too. Many people talk about success, strength, money, peace, or greatness. But very few people are willing to suffer for those things consistently too. Everyone wants the reward, but not everyone wants the process required to earn it. Real growth is boring sometimes. Real growth requires repetition. It requires sacrifice too. It requires doing things when nobody is watching and when no applause exists. That is why most people never reach their full potential. They quit too early because discipline feels uncomfortable too. But understand this clearly. Temporary discomfort creates long-term strength. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Two, a disciplined person becomes dangerous because they can control themselves even when life becomes difficult. They do not collapse emotionally every time challenges appear. They do not allow distractions to destroy their focus. They keep moving forward while everyone else keeps making excuses. That is true power. The strongest people are not always the most talented, too. They are often the most disciplined. They continue improving while others keep quitting. They continue building while others waste time complaining, too. And over time, that consistency creates a level of strength that becomes impossible to ignore. If you truly want to become mentally untouchable, stop depending on motivation. Build discipline instead. Because once discipline controls your life, very few things in this world can stop you. 5, speak less and observes more. One of the most powerful skills a person can develop is learning how to stay quiet and observe carefully, too. Most people talk too much without realizing how much energy, control, and wisdom they lose through unnecessary words, too. They reveal every plan, every emotion, every weakness and every frustration to the world. Because of this, they become predictable, emotionally exposed, and easy to manipulate. 2. I learned something important through life and training. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Weak people often feel the need to constantly prove themselves through words, too. They talk loudly about their goals before achieving anything. They argue endlessly to defend their ego. They react emotionally to criticisms because they cannot control their pride, too. But powerful people move differently. They understand that real strength does not need constant attention or explanation. When you begin speaking less, your awareness becomes sharper too. You start noticing things most people completely miss. You notice fake loyalty hidden behind friendly smiles. You notice jealousy disguised as support. You notice manipulation, dishonesty, insecurity, and hidden intentions in people's behavior. Quiet observation allows you to understand human nature more clearly, too. Most people are too distracted to truly observe the world around them. They are constantly talking, reacting, scrolling, complaining, and seeking attention, too. Because of this, they miss important details that could protect their peace and improve their decisions. But a distracted mind is easy to deceive, but an observant mind becomes difficult to manipulate. In martial arts, observation is extremely important. A fighter who reacts emotionally without observing carefully often loses control quickly, too. But a calm fighter studies movement, timing, weaknesses, and patterns before taking actions. Life works the same way. The more observant you become, the smarter your decisions become. Too. I also learned that silence protects energy. Every unnecessary argument drains mental strength. Every emotional reaction wastes focus. Every attempt to explain yourself to people who already misunderstand you steals peace from your mind. Many people are emotionally exhausted, not because life is difficult, but because they waste too much energy reacting to everything around them. Powerful people protect their energy carefully. They do not argue with everyone. They do not respond to every insult. They do not announce every move they make. Sometimes the strongest response is silence, because silence keeps you emotionally in control, while others lose control trying to provoke you. There is also power in becoming less predictable, too. When people know all your thoughts, emotions, and plans, they can easily influence you. But when you become quieter and more disciplined, people struggle to read you. Your calmness creates mystery, and mystery creates respect. Many people fear silence because they are uncomfortable with themselves, too. They constantly seek noise, validation, and attention because stillness forces them to face their own thoughts. But strong people learn how to become comfortable in silence, too. They use silence to think clearly, reflect deeply, and sharpen their focus. The world today is full of noise and distraction. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants to speak, too. Everybody wants to prove something. That is why quiet people often become the most powerful people in the room, while others waste energy trying to impress everyone. They quietly study, improve, and build themselves. Silence also teaches emotional control, too. When you stop reacting immediately to everything, you create space between emotion and action. That space allows wisdom to grow, too. Instead of speaking from anger, pride, or frustration, you begin responding with calmness and intelligence. This does not mean you should never speak. It means your words should carry purpose and control instead of emotional chaos. A disciplined person understands that words are powerful, so they choose them carefully, too. I discovered that some of the strongest people are not aggressive or attention-seeking. Often they are calm, observant, disciplined, and quiet, too. Their presence speaks louder than their words because their confidence does not depend on constant validation, too. The moment you learn to observe more than you speak, your understanding of people and life changes completely. You stop becoming emotionally reactive. You stop wasting energy trying to prove yourself, too. You begin moving with patience, awareness, and control. And that is what makes a person mentally dangerous. 6. Use pain to make yourself. Stronger pain is something every human being experiences, too. Nobody escapes failure, rejection, betrayal, loneliness, criticism, or hardship. Life will test every person at some point. But the difference between weak people and powerful people is not the amount of pain they experience. The difference is how they respond to it. Most people allow pain to destroy them emotionally. The moment life becomes difficult, they lose hope, lose discipline, and lose confidence in themselves. They become bitter, angry, and mentally weak because they see suffering as proof that life is against them. But through years of training, fighting, and struggle, I learned something important. Pain can either break you or build you. The choice depends on your mindset, too. Some of my greatest lessons did not come from comfort or easy victories. They came from struggle, pressure, setbacks, and criticism, too. Difficult moments forced me to grow stronger mentally and emotionally. Pain taught me discipline, patience, resilience, and self-control and self-comfort in ways comfort never could. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They run away from difficult situations, difficult conversations, difficult responsibilities, and difficult truths too. They distract themselves with entertainment, excuses, and temporary play pleasures because they are afraid to face pain directly. But avoiding pain also prevents growth. A person who avoids struggle often becomes emotionally fragile. Small problems easily break them because they never train their mind to handle discomfort too. But people who face hardship with discipline slowly develop inner strength that cannot be easily shaken. Think about physical training. Muscles only grow when they are pushed beyond comfort. The same thing happens mentally. Your mind becomes stronger when you survive difficult experiences and continue moving forward instead of giving up. Instead of giving up too. Every painful experience contains a lesson hidden inside it. Failure teaches humility and wisdom. Rejection teaches independence. Betrayal teaches awareness. Loneliness teaches self-reliance. Struggle teaches endurance. If you are willing to learn from pain instead of becoming a victim of it, suffering can transform you into a far stronger person. Many people ask, why is this happening to me? Whenever life becomes hard. But powerful people ask a different question. What is this trying to teach me? That mindset changes everything, too. The truth is, pain often reveals parts of yourself you never knew existed. Difficult moments expose your fears, weaknesses, habits, and emotional limits. But they also reveal your courage, resilience, and ability to survive challenges you once believed would destroy you. I also learned that painful experiences can sharpen focus. So, when people lose comfort, relationships, opportunities, or security, they often begin seeing life more clearly. They stop wasting time on meaningless distractions and start understanding what truly matters. Pain has a way of waking people up emotionally and mentally too. However, many people make one dangerous mistake. They allow pain to make them bitter instead of wiser. They carry anger for years. They become consumed by resentment, revenge, and negativity. Instead of growing stronger, they allow suffering to poison their mind. Real strength means using pain as fuel for growth instead of allowing it to destroy your spirit. 2, a disciplined person understands that suffering is temporary, but the lessons gained from suffering can last forever. They do not collapse every time life becomes difficult, because they know hardship is part of becoming stronger. They keep moving forward, even during painful seasons, because they understand that growth often happens in darkness before success appears in light. There were moments in my life when people doubted me, criticized my ideas, and rejected my philosophy. I could have allowed those experiences to discourage me. Instead, I used them as motivation to improve myself even more. Criticism became fuel. Struggle became training. Obstacles became opportunities to grow stronger. That is the mindset powerful people develop. The strongest individuals are often not those who lived easy lives. They are usually the people who survive pain without allowing it to destroy their discipline, character, or purpose. When you stop fearing pain, life loses much of its power to control you too. Challenges no longer intimidate you because you trust your ability to survive difficult situations. You become mentally tougher, emotionally calmer, and far more resilient than the average person too. And that is what makes someone dangerous. A person who has suffered, learned, adapted, and continued moving forward becomes incredibly difficult to break too. They no longer panic during hard times because pain has already taught them endurance too. They no longer depend on perfect conditions to stay focused because struggle trained them to keep going. Even during chaos, pain is not always your enemy. Sometimes pain is the force that transforms you into the strongest version of yourself. 7, to become your own source of power. The most dangerous person in the world is someone who no longer depends on other people to feel valuable too. Most people build their confidence on temporary things, such as attention, relationships, praise, money, or approval too. Because of this, their emotional state constantly changes depending on what happens around them. When people praise them, they feel confident. When people reject them, they feel worthless too. When they lose attention, they lose themselves. That is not real strength. Real power begins when your confidence comes from within instead of from the outside world. 2. I learned through discipline and self-mastery that depending too much on others creates emotional weakness too. The moment your happiness depends completely on people, you give them control over your emotions. Their opinions begin controlling your confidence. Their actions begin controlling your peace too. Their presence begins controlling your identity. This is why so many people fear rejection, abandonment, and loneliness. Deep inside, they do not truly trust themselves too. They have never built a strong relationship with their own mind, so they constantly search for validation from the outside world to feel complete. But a powerful person's how to stand alone without feeling empty. That does not mean they hate people or avoid relationships. It means they are emotionally stable even when life becomes uncertain. But they enjoy companionship. But they do not emotionally collapse when someone walks away. 2. They appreciate support, but they do not depend on constant approval to believe in themselves. Many people are terrified of being alone because silence forces them to face themselves. 2. Without distractions, attention, and noise, they begin noticing their insecurities, fears, and emotional emptiness. That is why so many people constantly surround themselves with distractions. They fear stillness because they fear confronting their own mind. But solitude can become one of the greatest teachers in life, too. Some of the strongest moments of growth happen when you spend time alone improving yourself. Solitude allows you to think clearly without outside influence. 2. It allows you to sharpen discipline, build self-awareness, and understand who you truly are without constantly trying to impress others. During my own journey, I spent countless hours training alone, thinking alone, and pushing myself beyond comfort too. Those quiet moments built inner strength because I learned how to rely on myself mentally and emotionally. I realized that true confidence is not loud. It does not beg for attention, too. It comes from knowing you can handle life even when nobody is standing beside you. Most people only feel strong when everything around them is stable, too. They feel confident when they receive attention, success, praise, or support. But truly powerful people remain steady even during uncertainty. Their confidence is internal, not external. This type of strength changes the way you move through life. When you become your own source of power, rejection no longer destroys your confidence because your worth does not depend on acceptance. 2. Criticism no longer controls your emotions because you already know who you are. Loneliness no longer scares you because you have learned how to enjoy your own company. 2. You stop chasing people for validation. You stop begging for attention. You stop trying to prove yourself to everyone around you. Instead, you focus on growth, discipline, peace, and purpose, too. I also learned that emotionally independent people become extremely difficult to manipulate. Manipulation only works when someone desperately fears losing approval, attention, or love, too. But when you are emotionally grounded within yourself, people lose the ability to control your behavior through fear. That is real freedom. Person who can stand alone calmly has already developed a level of mental strength most people never reach. They no longer panic because they trust themselves deeply. Even during chaos, they remain focused because their identity is not built on unstable things. This does not happen overnight, too. Building inner strength requires discipline, self-reflection, pain, and patience. There will be moments when loneliness feels uncomfortable. There will be moments when self-doubt appears. But every time you continue building yourself, your mind, instead of seeking, your mind becomes stronger. Over time, you stop needing the world to constantly remind you of your value, because you already understand your worth internally, too. And once a person reaches that level of self-mastery, they become mentally untouchable. Because the world can only control people who depend on it emotionally. But the person who becomes their own source of strength, peace, confidence, and purpose becomes incredibly powerful, calm alone, focused alone, disciplined alone, strong alone. That is the kind of person life struggles to break. 8. Never reveal. All your moves. One of the greatest mistakes people make is talking too much about their plans, goals, and ambitions before they actually achieve anything. 2. They announce every idea, every dream, and every next move to the world, hoping for validation, attention, or approval. 2. But through experience, I learned something powerful. The more you speak about your plans, the more energy you lose before the work is even done. Powerful people move quietly. 2. They focus more on execution than explanation. While others constantly talk about what they are going to do, disciplined people are already doing the work in silence. They understand that real results speak louder than endless words. Most people reveal too much because they want recognition before success arrives. 2. They want others to admire their vision, praise their goals, or emotionally support their journey. But this often creates a dangerous habit, too. Instead of becoming addicted to progress, they become addicted to talking about progress. There is also another reason. Silence is important. Not everybody around you truly wants to see you succeed. Some people secretly compete with you. Some people become jealous the moment they notice growth in your life. Some people will discourage your dreams simply because they never had the courage to chase their own. And some people will smile in front of you while quietly hoping you fail behind your back. That is why you must learn how to protect your vision. A strong person understands that energy is valuable too. They do not waste their focus explaining every move to people who do not truly understand their purpose. Instead, they put all their energy into improving themselves quietly until the results become impossible to ignore. In martial arts, revealing too much to your opponent creates weakness too. If your opponent knows every move before you make it, you lose your advantage. Life works the same way. The less predictable you become, the less control. The more control you maintain over your direction. 2. Silence also protects you from unnecessary opinions. The moment people hear your plans, they often project their fears, doubts, and limitations onto you. 2. Weak-minded people will tell you something is impossible simply because they were too afraid to attempt it themselves. 2. If you constantly listen to negative opinions, your confidence slowly begins to weaken. I learned that successful people often build in silence for long periods of time. 2. While the world sees nothing happening, they are training, learning, sacrificing, improving, and preparing themselves quietly. Then, one day, people suddenly notice the results and ask, how did they change so much? What people do not see are the lonely hours, disciplined routines, painful sacrifices, and silent struggles that created that transformation. Many people today are obsessed with showing everything online. Every small achievement becomes an announcement. Every plan becomes public. Every personal moment becomes content for attention. But constantly exposing your life can weaken focus because your attention shifts from building your future to managing people's reactions. A dangerous person does not seek constant attention. 2. They become so focused on growth that they no longer feel the need to prove themselves to everybody. There is also power in mystery. Quiet people are difficult to predict because they do not constantly reveal their thoughts and intentions. Their silence creates control too. While others waste energy talking, they observe, plan, and execute with patience. This does not mean you should never share your goals with anyone. It means you should become wise about who has access to your vision. 2. Share your dreams with people who genuinely support your growth, not with people who secretly enjoy doubt, negativity, and distraction. I also learned that talking less creates stronger discipline. 10. Every time you stop announcing your goals and instead focus on action, your mindset changes. You stop chasing motivation from other people and start building real confidence through progress. The truth is, many people speak about greatness, but very few people quietly endure the pain required to achieve it. Silence forces you to become responsible for your own discipline because there is no applause, no validation, and no attention keeping you motivated. And that is where real strength is built. A person who can quietly work for months or years without needing recognition develops an incredible level of focus and emotional control. They become less distracted by opinions and more committed to results. Over time, your life itself becomes the proof of your hard work. You no longer need to explain your value because your discipline, growth, and mindset naturally speak for you. That is true power. The loudest people are not always the strongest. Often, the strongest person is the one quietly building themselves while the world is distracted by noise. The world today is full of distraction, emotional weakness, and people constantly searching for validation from others too. Most people never become powerful because they allow fear, opinions, comfort, and emotions to control their life too. They react too quickly, depend too much on others, and lose themselves trying to please everyone around them too. But through discipline, struggle, and self-mastery, I learned that true power is built internally. Real strength is staying calm when life becomes difficult. Real strength is walking away from disrespect without losing your peace. Real strength is controlling your emotions while others lose control of theirs too. Real strength is continuing to move forward even during pain, loneliness, criticism, and failure. A dangerous person is not someone who harms others. A dangerous person is someone who has mastered themselves so deeply that very little in this world can mentally break them. When you stop needing approval, people lose the power to manipulate you. When you become disciplined, excuses stop controlling your future. When you learn to stay silent and observe, your awareness becomes sharper too. When you use pain as fuel, suffering becomes a source of strength instead of weakness. And when you become your own source of confidence and peace, you become emotionally untouchable too. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort and attention. Few people choose discipline, solitude, patience, and self-control too. That is why mentally strong people stand out so powerfully in this world. Never forget this. Your greatest weapon is not your body. It is your mind. It is your mind. A focused mind can survive pressure too. A disciplined mind can overcome failure. A calm mind can defeat chaos. And a person who fully controls themselves becomes incredibly difficult to stop. So, stop wasting your energy trying to impress everybody. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop depending on motivation, attention, or approval to feel valuable. tiptoed. Instead, train your mind, protect your peace, strengthen your discipline, move quietly, and build yourself until your presence alone commands respect. Because once you truly master yourself, you become dangerously powerful and mentally untouchable.